Alright, back into the Mirror Weekly. Now obviously the point of this weekly is to try and farm secret achievements, but I don't actually have that many left to get. Since we got the Angry Pygmy Hog earlier this week, I just need Giant Eyes Dog and Fire Pup. But there are some other builds that I want to go for in this pack. Weeklies are often quite good for going for specific awkward teams that might otherwise not have a chance in customs. It really just depends on the pets that you need actually being in the weekly pack in the first place. And this one does have most of the pieces that I would need. I actually noticed there, watching this back on the replay, it's not showing the hats correctly. You can see the frog has its custom hat, but the golden retriever didn't have a custom hat there. It's supposed to have a halo. So that's a bit of a bug. Presumably it's just a bug in the replay system because it works in game. Now I did take the Mara and incorrectly play it in the backline here. It doesn't really matter too much because we're going to get rid of it anyway. I ultimately want to only have a single trumpet from this team. So a level 1 groundhog is all we need. In fact, I think that's the only way to gain a single trumpet in this pack. I'm not sure. But then we get the Hermit Crab as well. So Hermit Crab is part of the equation. And I want the doggo to be receiving a particular perk, which I'll let you think about for a second, see if you can guess which perk it would be in this pack. Now maybe there aren't actually that many perks available. We are going to take Seaweed initially, which isn't going to be the final perk that we have, but it makes sense since we only have a level 2 Hermit Crab at the moment, and I would rather be passing back a much higher tier perk than that. So yeah, the Mara at the moment is going to add an extra 4 trumpets, which we won't need by the end of the run, but for now it's going to help us get the victory here. You can see that Seaweed is in the pack now. There's actually been a couple of changes made, which I can understand because I think I mentioned in the previous video that Angry Pygmy Hog was the only new token that had been added since the last Mirror Weekly, but of course there was also Baby Sea Urchin. So that's now been added into the pack, and there's also another change which I'm blanking on at the moment. What is it? Oh yeah, Dugong has been removed and replaced with Mara. So we're actually using 2 of the items here that weren't in the pack at the beginning of the week. But it makes sense that those things would be fixed before the weekly went any further. If you didn't watch the other video, Dugong is bugged, so in a weekly pack, it will always give all pets on the team the buffs, which I'm sure will be fixed in the next update. So we're just going to keep statting up the Groundhog since it is the main keeper for this particular build. We are going to keep the Hermit Crab as well, but it having big stats doesn't really matter too much. I always think it's funny when the doggo comes in and transforms into a completely different unit. Probably going to lose here to Falcon near the back with the non-permanent buffs from the Loveland Frogman. So just going to use the Bonobo to get the level up. We do get Cerberus, but I'm not interested in going for the Fire Pup achievement right at this moment. I'm just going to take it for the 9-9 stat line plus the 8-8 summon. I didn't really think Cerberus needed a buff whenever that was implemented, but I guess it's probably a symptom of Unicorn Pack struggling a bit in versus mode. I don't think that's the case anymore. I could be wrong, but let me know in the comments, you Unicorn Pack mains. So here's a team that actually has Behemoth. In fact, they have 2 Behemoths. And the way to get access to these other tier 6 units is via Red Panda. And then once you've got one of them, you can of course clone them. So maybe we're going to have a look at that a bit later in this week and see if we can do something with it. This time, because we won, there wasn't anything offered by the mirror. You know, we could have stolen a Behemoth there, but it wasn't to be. Pretty strong looking team here with the Flying Squirrel. But I think we're going to be okay, yeah, because we summon a skunk. Otherwise it would have been a tie. So that worked out perfectly. Now we can get rid of the Mara. So we're back to having only a single trumpet. And now I just need a couple more things. Okay, we're going to steal a skunk. And there we go, we get the cocoa bean. So what I want to happen is for the doggo to get the cocoa bean, summon as a 1-1, and then transform into something useful from the opposing team. Not the most startlingly original synergy, I think, but it does produce some pretty funny battles if you get the right luck. I'm just going to take the skunk and we'll replace the seaweed with cocoa bean. Now that the lineup is fixed, we can't use the mirror anymore, but it doesn't really matter too much. Well, I guess we could use it if we got the same unit from the other team. Here's actually someone else with Behemoth. I wonder if they got it from that other person. But there we go, yeah, the doggo, 1-1 doggo turns into the Behemoth from the opposing side. I'm not going to take the Behemoth at this point. I just want to keep it frozen because it's free. It's very difficult to let free stuff go. And definitely you can see the mileage we're getting from Potato again here. I mentioned this in the previous video. You definitely want to have Potato on the front unit in this pack because there are so many teams with Mantis Shrimp. So level up Baycat, take the mushroom. I actually need to move Baycat one space back. Yep, there we go. It's kind of a shame that the Mara generates trumpets. It would be nice to have the doggo, the 1-1 doggo, come in right at the beginning of the battle, or very close to the beginning, so we have a higher chance of copying something good. I suppose when you copy stuff in the backline, it's more likely to be the weaker summoning units, although in this pack, you know, there are people playing things like Falcon at the back, so, you know, it is definitely possible that you get a game-winning copy from one of those pets. Absolutely massive hermit crab team here with the level 3 cat. So someone else who's gone fishing with Red Panda. I'm actually not sure why they're copying the hermit crab with the bonobo. But I think the mushroom bay cat here is going to do a lot of good work. And then the doggo turns into the cat for the win. Just take whatever food's available. There is good stat food in this pack, so you know, at the end of the game, there's still plenty of stuff to buy. Rat gets knocked out by the fire pop. We're kind of at the mercy of the Baycat randomization here. One attack, Tasmanian Devil Air actually gets a knockout. And yeah, the Baycat gets turned into a wolf, which could have been disastrous. But actually, look what's going to happen. The doggo comes in, turns into the Mantis Shrimp, trades for the win. So very fun team in my opinion. A 1-1 Golden Retriever becoming a huge game-winning Mantis Shrimp.